Welcome back to Momentous Struggle. On this week, Aubrey and I are going to talk about some games that he played in an event that I may or may not have ran or something along those lines. So we'll go ahead and jump on into that. As always, or as somewhat regularly, I have Aubrey with me. Aubrey, how are you doing?
I miss one episode, and Todd's like, "Oh, are you a guest on this podcast now? Come on."
I think you are. I think you're just a regular guest now.
Wow. I am doing excellent, Todd. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're not recording in the morning, so I guess you're actually doing quite well for yourself there.
Oh no, it takes all day, but I'm finally awake now. This is about when my brain decides to start functioning, which is fantastic.
So it just takes you until 7 o'clock at night. That's frightening. Very frightening, Aubrey.
Yep, it's all the night owling. Nah. The real story is the first hour at work, I'm like everyone. Don't bring me any too high level of things, because if I have to put out fires immediately, I'm just going to throw more fire on the fire.
No, yeah, I can't deal with that because like when I get into work, people have been working on the East Coast for 3 hours, so like I come into fires like at 6 o'clock in the morning.
No, Todd. No, just retire. You could probably do that soon, right?
About 9 years, so not really that soon, but yeah. But yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just the normal daily grind of being an adult and stuff like that, and everything along those lines. And you, how are you doing today, Aubrey? I mean, other than waking up and enjoying yourself and being the librarian that you are.
So I have to say that it's this week. Knock on wood or my head or whatever works, dear listeners, because it's a holiday week and it's the start of July, and the mad dash crash crazy busyness of my library gets into a lull this week. And today we didn't have nonstop lines all day long and 50 kids showing up to their programs. It was more of like a respectable 20 something again, like because today was Lego Club. But and I have a new librarian. Our new supervisor finally started. The position has only been open for months because the city of Phoenix likes to do bulk hiring, and it's not like you lose supervisors that often, so they take a minute. They take a minute
Yep.
to actually do it, but it's going well. It's going well.
Good. Yeah, no, it's so yeah, I'm doing good. I mean, like I said, work as always. I work for the government, so you know how that like is never a good thing and never a bad thing. But well, who knows? We'll see how that goes. It's funny. So I don't know if you noticed, or you probably haven't been on Longshanks, because I went on Monday to close out the Longshanks event, the Longshanks for the event that happened this weekend, and Longshanks went down, and like everything that was, you weren't able to access anything in Longshanks for the day. And if you go into Longshanks now and go into statistics, there's no statistical data in there available to like go through the leaderboard. The rankings are there, but the leaderboards are basically pretty much empty. People's like individual records are there. Like you can go back and see like your individual records. Like if you look at like the rankings, like Sam Sweeten's there at 24-1-1, Kenny Brown's at 27-6. So it's like, yeah, like the top players still have their individual rankings, but if you go into leaderboards, it's like they might have had a couple of games under those particular ones. Like some of them have no data. Like Ahsoka is no data. Cad Bane, no data. Hondo, no data. Like if you want to sit there and get on the leaderboard, now's your chance, because there's a lot of no data people.
Oh man, that sounds about right. Oh no, I do have one complaint, Todd. Speaking of things not working, or maybe they're going to work, or I don't know. Apparently. I don't. My dad was ranting about this because he's old. But AT&T has been running around our neighborhood just digging up everyone's yard to put in fiber optics, and my dad's
Hmm.
ranting about they're not allowed to be on your property, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, Dad, is
Oh, yes,
AT&T?
they
It's a
are.
giant corporation. I like, what do you like? Come
There's a
on, Dad.
there's a thing that you signed and agreed to that you didn't know that you agreed to. They're called easements. They're called utility easements. And yes, they are allowed
Yep.
to be on your property due to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I thank you, Todd. I was not going to explain how little control my dear darling father, who is like, they're trespassing and you could kick the blah blah. I'm like,
No, you
Dad. All I
can't.
care about, all I care about is that at 7-ish or 7:30, or I don't remember when. Well, all it was is it was over an hour before I even had to wake up. Somebody was banging on my door, ringing the doorbell to get me to move my car so that they could park their truck there. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, you could have done any other number of things besides waking me up. But first world problems. First world problems. I wasn't
Yeah,
waking up by any
grumpy
bombs
Aubrey.
today.
Grumpy Aubrey, go figure. Wake Aubrey up in the morning and he's a grumpy Aubrey. Oh.
Yes, Todd. Yes, he is. Let me have my beauty sleep, especially since Talia and I
Yeah,
had
you
kind of
need as
stayed up
much as you
late.
can get. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah. Fine, fine. All right, move on, Todd. We're not talking about this anymore.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The rants and the nonsense of Aubrey, I've missed it. So, but yeah. So yeah, no,
You
but
had a reprieve.
I did. I almost miss it now.
You miss me or the reprieve?
The reprieve. Yeah, I missed the reprieve. But
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
but no. Okay, well, since I just saw you this weekend, I kind of know what you've been up to. But besides, the games that we played over the weekend, what else have you been up to? You getting any painting, any hobbying done? Have you finally gotten your second 3D printer back up and running, or are you still just down to one?
Oh God, no, no, I have not had any time to work. Well, okay, I technically have had time, but so much stuff has been going on that I haven't. Like, it's weird troubleshooting because I already did troubleshooting and it didn't work. So now I gotta test the stuff that isn't normal. So we're putting a pin in that for a minute. So I got one 3D printer running, and so I'm working on actually for. So this is interesting. Again, I don't have a lot of experience with other games, but in Trench Crusade, they some of the missions not only have like a particular layout for the terrain. Not everyone does, but some of them do. But the one that we're doing this for our next round actually requires you to have. I mean, duh, it's called Trench Crusade. Have trench sections. You have to have at least 3 trench sections on the map, and like a lot of us are, well, we're all new to the game. All of us started at the same time. Not everyone has terrain. Not everyone knows what they're doing. And so I at least have a 3D printer, and I'm like, it's all right. I got this. I'm going to print out trench sections. We got it. But only having one printer, I got too used to having 2 printers, Todd. It's taking twice as long. I need my terrain printed.
Poor Aubrey and his first world problems of not having 2 3D printers to operate simultaneously.
Yes, yes. Oh, I've got one more first world problem for you, Todd.
Okay.
We need a moment of silence. My alchemist fighter in Trench Crusade. I rolled after each round. You roll, like, if they get taken off the table. You have to roll to see what happens to them. Like, sometimes they just make a full recovery. Sometimes they get a permanent injury that like gives them a debuff or whatever.
Hmm.
And Todd, can you guess what happens if you roll Snake Eyes? Because Aubrey rolled Snake Eyes.
I'm sure it's amazingly horrible. Like maybe the grenades fall down into the trenches that you're in and you blow up. That's kind of what I would expect. I would expect something
That's some
very catastrophic like that to happen.
that is actually something that can happen. You can fumble grenades, but no, this is after it's all over. You're dead. You're extra crispy dead. You're not just mostly dead like in Princess Bride. You check the pockets. You're all the way dead.
All right. So like, okay, going to like Trench Crusade and like, so do you basically like have to just? I would think the easy, not easiest, but like the coolest way to sit there and do it is kind of like have the bottom of the trenches actually be the map, and you like print pieces of terrain to like that you would go up on top of instead. So like you would, is that kind of what you're gonna have to do, because that's a lot of printing to do for like like is it on
So
a 3x3?
Yeah, so yes, ideally you actually would build a table, and yes, that's what you would do. I know there's at least one person in our group who is they're doing the foam method, like they're building an actual full table but out of foam. For the most part, we we just kind of hand wave it, like you just start the trench sections at like the edge of the table, cuz like I printed for Z. What I'm doing is just three trench sections, because what it actually is the defenders are coming. The next mission is one of you's a defender and one of you's an attacker, and so the defenders are in the trenches and then they're moving across the place. But we just kind of hand wave it a little bit, because right now no one, including the person who's working on their full custom like foam table, nobody actually has them done. So right now we're hand waving. You're deploying. You're technically deploying underground. but we have to pretend that's what's happening.
Makes sense.
Or
Makes
below,
sense.
not underground, below, like below. Yeah, you get what I mean, right?
You're deploying in the trenches, is
Yes.
what I'm.
But you can't see, but you can't, like, they're not there because we put all the terrain like where you're actually gonna fight. Because you usually, if you end up in somebody's deployment, this isn't like Shatterpoint. If you get into somebody's deployment, like that's actually one of the factions, because every faction has a special. You can get a victory point, but it's unique to that faction. One of the factions, like their victory point is just getting somebody into your deployment, because that doesn't happen very often. Like that, for the most part, you're fighting in the middle. You're fighting in the middle of the map. So you like it's. I think I've almost gotten to somebody's deployment once, and it was with they have infiltrator models. Like, this is actually kind of fun. It's kind of like the same thing, infiltrate and Shatterpoint, right? Except in this case, it's way deeper. You get to put them something like, is it 8 inches or 12 inches? I don't remember. The rule tells you what it is, but you get to put them way deep into the outside of your deployment. It's like 8 inches from deployment, and deployment is usually, well, every mission says what it is, but so far every one we've done is 6 inches. So like
Mhm.
most of the time, there's a 6 inch edge of deployment, which is part of the battlefield. Like, you can just leave, like, your snipers and stuff. They just usually stay back there. You don't move them up very much, and then everybody else rushes into the 2 foot space that's in between your deployment zones.
Okay. All right. I mean, it sounds like it's kind of like your when you put things into reserve in old. I don't know if it's in Warhammer. You had something similar where you could have like you could wait until like the second round, and like you could just deploy, like you wouldn't deploy them on in the initial part of the game, but then the second round of the game or later you could sit there and like just all of a sudden deep strike a unit into the onto the battlefield, and they were like on the other side of the board deploying type of a thing. So I'm assuming it's something like that.
Yeah, except you do. Basically, all infiltrators just have to go at the end of deployment. So you deploy everything else, and then before you start the first round, you deploy an infiltrator. But there is, so again, mission rules. There is like the mission we did in the last round, because I didn't get any Shatterpoint in this week because I had to reschedule my Trench Crusade League game. So then I scheduled that for Friday instead of trying to get in a game of Shatterpoint, and because I needed to be done this week, because we do 2 games a month, and I'm like, it's like it's about to be the end of the month. We gotta get this done. But that mission, we actually did so your warband, your squads can be somewhere between like 6 to 10 models, is anywhere. And so the mission that we were in, you could only deploy the defender could only deploy 6 models because you're defending. The attacker could deploy 6 plus roll a d3. So just roll a d6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. They got to deploy that, and then after the first turn, so you go through all of your both players' activations is a turn or a round, and most games are 4 to 5 rounds. But after the first turn, you could then put more models, but only in your deployment. Like they showed up at the back of the game. But that was a mission. That was like the mission that we were doing. Like how Shatterpoint has the different objective setups. That was the mission that we were on, was protect the supplies or destroy the supplies, depending on who is the attacker or defender.
Yeah, okay. Well, sounds like you had a good time. Sounds like you had a good time. So, but yeah, so I guess we can go and talk about like the event this weekend, because we did have I did run a Shatterpoint event and an MCP event. So like a new company, new to Arizona anyway, Green Banner Gaming has decided to infiltrate their way into the Arizona gaming scene, which is probably a good thing. We didn't have like a very professional running con here locally. Like these guys are really kind of like bringing a large scale convention feel to Arizona for tabletop wargaming. I mean, we have Smite Club and they do their thing, but they're kind of a local club that puts on an event. It didn't never kind of like rose to that level of like the large con feel like I feel like this event kind of did. So they came into town. The event was I'm wearing the shirt, Heroes Cup, and this was primarily they wanted to market it as a team event. And as time went on, I was talking with Jason McKenzie, who was the head TO for the for the Warhammer 40K side. Basically kind of realized, you know what, it makes sense to do it as a team event for like 40K and Edge of Sigmar, but they're not really going to push it to be a team event going forward for like Shatterpoint, MCP, Legion, because Legion's going to be there next year, as well as Old World was there, and Old World just didn't even get enough players. I think they had like 8 players or something like that, 8 or 10 players. So basically they're not going to really be pushing that, but we were still able to do like a team event. We had 4 teams of 3-player teams for Shatterpoint, and we actually had 8 teams for MCP, which was really cool. So we were able to do a full 8-team event, which is to be fair, like on the MCP side of the community, they really love the team event, especially out here. I mean, I was able to get 24 local players to sit there and play in an MCP team event, so that worked out well. And still getting enough to get 4 teams of 12 was really pretty solid as well. But yeah, I think it turned out well. I mean, what was your initial thoughts of like just like the venue, the event, the company of running it, and everything along those lines?
Oh, I think they did a fantastic job. Just to talk about the space where we were, because we were in Westworld over in Scottsdale, which I know you've talked about before. It's where they do the big horse shows and things. Like there was an RV show happening outside while we're trying to come in. But the biggest thing is we just had so much space. Now, admittedly, part of that was because we were kind of expecting a few more teams to sign up, but regardless, we had so much room even just at the table, because like the tables they had were just large enough that basically you had plenty of room between each of the tables that were set up, that you never felt like you were running into people too often, except for Izzy, who kept stealing my chair. Come on, Izzy. But that's a different problem. So
That's
that
definitely a
first
different
off.
problem.
And then just like there was several vendors, which was cool. Like Monument Hobbies was there. There was somebody selling like minis. Like I picked up a couple of minis for Talia and I, just for fun to do some painting. There was also like was it the guy who was running 40K, or one of the guys who did? Oh no, he was doing the judging. He had his big diorama display.
Oh yeah, the guy that
table.
judged the painting. Yeah, the guy that judged the painting. His name's Chad. Yeah.
Yeah, oh my god, that was beautiful. But like he was also even like selling painted minis. Like I didn't that was one, it was 40K, two is probably gonna be too rich for my blood, so I didn't even stop to look. I just or at prices or anything. I just went, ooh, pretty models, move on. But also they had waitresses. Like I felt bad for those women. They had waitresses running back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, bringing drinks to everybody like all day long. I mean, not that I'm complaining because I got myself an energy drink and then later on got myself an adult beverage. So like that was super fun. Plus there were people throwing down what was it, Modelo's all day. I was like, oh guys, you gonna make it home okay? Not in the Shatterpoint. I was watching the 40K guys. I'm like, what's going on over there, friends? You're having a party.
I had in the on the MCP side, one of the teams, they were basically they were selling buckets of beer, and you would get like five. It started out as six beers per bucket, and they weren't supposed to be six beers per bucket. They were five, so they ended up getting a couple of beers like extra. Um, but it was five beers per bucket. They went through four buckets of beer during the tournament. So yeah, they went through at least 20, probably 22 beers over the course of the MCP tournament. So they did pretty well for themselves at this event. So drinking up quite a bit there. But it was, yeah, I mean it was nice. There was food there because it is a large venue, like the Arabian Horse Show for in Scottsdale, which is like the second largest Arabian Horse Show in the world, happens there. Anybody that's familiar with like cars, there's a big car auction called the Barrett Jackson Car Auction, which like millions of dollars worth of cars are auctioned off every year there. That happens this is at the location where that happens, and there's like, if you ever go to it, there's like thousands upon thousands of like classic cars that are always up for auction and everything along those lines. And this place is big enough to hold all of those cars. So it's a very very big venue, and it went well. I think there was like I said, Monument Hobbies. They're local to us here in Arizona. They brought out one of their full booths, not as big as like you'd see over at like Adepticon or something, but it was big enough to where everybody that wanted to buy anything from Monument Hobbies definitely did not go away empty-handed. They had plenty of stuff there. And they were there for 2 days. They provided their challenge coins, the Monument Hobby challenge coins for anybody that was entered the painting competition. So there was like basically bronze, silver, and gold medal coin winners for every game system that wanted to do that. So it was fantastic. I think it was a great venue. And they put together a great event. I mean, they were, I think, like all the swag that went along with it. They custom made objective markers for both Shatterpoint and MCP. They had like these huge banners. Each team, if they submitted artwork, could get their own custom banner. And those banners were what, like 3 feet by 5 feet or something like that. They were giant banners. I know I posted a bunch of
Yeah.
pictures up on Facebook with people holding their team banners, and that not only did you get like a team banner, but they actually had like banners for first, second, and third place. They actually had like slate trophies for like plaques for everybody that took first place in MCP or for Shatterpoint, plus the best general for Shatterpoint, and then for MCP they actually had plaques for first and second place because there was more teams and everything along those lines.
Yeah.
And they have plans to sit there and kind of expand on that, like maybe break it down to like best Jedi general, best Sith general, things along those lines going into next year, like in the hopes that hopefully more players will show up and maybe make the travel. I don't know if it'll be a team event because, like I said, it seemed like some people are into team events, some people aren't. So I'm not sure if like how that's going to play out. But speaking of not into, I mean, this was your first time playing in like this format of a team event. What was your thoughts of it?
Oh, so I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know if I did the strategizing part of being like the team captain very well, but I was having a blast. So, to break down, for anyone who hasn't done one of these team events before, the way it works is you do a team roll off first. So you roll five, just like if you were choosing first player, second player. You win the roll off. Which now that I think about it, I think I won the roll off every time, which is kind of wild. So I was constantly doing the picking because I was our team captain. It was me, Izzy, and Bob. And so my strategy, because I was like, well, I these are all local players. I know what everybody's kind of playing. I know what they're good at. I know their strategies. But what the thing you do is you put down on one of the three tables, you put down a card, and then that that representing a player on your team, three-person team, and then they can't choose that table to put down their first card onto another table. And since I didn't really have much of an idea about like list chickening out the other players, what I decided to focus on was just terrain because we were playing. I was playing Rebels, Izzy was playing Mandos, Bob was playing Empire. So I know, so I've got a heavy mobility list in Mandos. We've got Empire aggression, and then we have my revenge, like anti aggression. But it didn't feel like I could like really control who ended up against whom. Like I could look at the terrain and maybe try to figure that out, but that would imply that I knew enough about what my opponent, my opposing captain was going to think about, and I was like, I'm not gonna 4D chess this. I just looked at the terrain and I went, okay, what is going to be best for Izzy and Bob to play on, and then I'll give myself like a meet like an in between because my list is kind of in the middle of the road mobility. Like I can get on things because I was playing Jin because it's three mare, so I was playing Jin, Cassian, and PLC. And so I was like, I was reasonably sure I'd be okay, but I tried to look specifically like, and I feel like I don't know if Izzy realized I was mainly leaning on him, but I kept looking for tables that had a lot of high elevation and fewer ladders because I don't know what you did, Todd. You let Austin loose or something because some of those tables were not sporting very many ladders. He was doing the Todd school of laddering, right? What'd you do, Todd?
Yep, no, I let Austin kind of have free reign on like the ladders and everything like that. So no, that was all. I mean, the other part was is I think our terrain boxes were a little shaken up and everything like that. So there was like probably some ladders missing and stuff like that. But overall, I think we were fine. But yeah, no, he kind of like I let Austin loose and kind of let him do what he wanted to do with the tables for sure.
Yeah. So in any event, most of the time I ended up putting Izzy out first, but that's because looking at each setup, because we only had four teams, right? You ended up playing on one trio of tables twice. And so both times I basically put Izzy out first because I was like, okay, I need to make sure that Izzy has this advantage, like able to use the Mando jumps and jetpacks to like best advantage. And then I would look for, and then I would kind of look like, and I was talking at Bob and Izzy, but they were kind of just letting me do it, and I'm like, I don't know if that was good or bad, but and then I would look for whatever table had like the most ingress points or the easiest to access ingress points. I'm like, all right, Bob, you're going on that table, and then whichever one's like in the middle, that's where I'm ending up. So that's what I did. And I mean, it was a very interesting puzzle, right? Because you do still have in the back of your head, you're like, okay, well, Chris is playing Republic, Liam's playing Republic, they're playing Empire. So like the funny thing is round one, I put us all in like pseudo mirror matches. So like it was Mandos v Mandos, Empire v Empire, because I think I'm trying to remember if Liam was their captain of their team. I can't remember right now. But
I
anyway,
believe Liam was.
yeah, we Liam and I basically had the same school of thought, and so I think it was Empire, Mandos, and Republic instead of Rebels on his team, and basically I don't know if this is right or not, but he and I basically had the same thought. He put his Mando player Sheev on the high elevation table. He put his Empire player on the same table that I was like, oh, I think Empire will do well on that. And then he put himself on the middle table because he was playing Republic. That's decent mobility. Well, we'll get to Kit Fisto in a minute, Todd. Frickin' fish man. But uh and then I put me on like the middle table. So at least my strategy was the same as somebody else's strategy, right?
I don't know if that's a good thing or not though, because like you can't really game the matchup chess that there is. But it sounds like you were like not even worried about like trying to like do the chess match of like out deciding who's going to go where, because it's like the players that are really good at that. I mean, like especially when you like at LVO, I've played in the MCP one where it's like they like there's some people that are so good at knowing like how the matchup should work. They know exactly who's getting put down where before like it's even decided. They're like, oh, they're gonna put this person down first because of reasons X, Y, and Z. Like they know, like people have like know the strategies of it that well that like they know who's gonna sit there and go up and who's not. So, and we're not definitely not there with Shatterpoint because not many people play this format of a team event or anything along those lines. I mean, but have you done the 2-player team event where it's like just you and one other person on one table? Like it's 2v2 on one table?
But
so
that's
what do you like in the comparison? Like, yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, but that doesn't have this like extra dynamic of putting people on tables and things. I mean, you just roll up and you're playing a game of Shatterpoint, but with a second head attached to you. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you. You were gonna ask how do they compare?
Yeah, I mean, how do you look at it? I mean, like, which one did you like? Which one would you have preferred, like, going forward? Like, if someone would go, hey, we're going to run a team event, would you like one over the other, or you're just like, I don't care, I'm playing Shatterpoint?
Well, okay. So absolutely, if we're just talking about the event itself and how it's being run, the 3-person team thing, phenomenal. It's super fun. It's super engaging. I love it. The logistics of getting a 3-person team there and to show up, we had not one but 2 people have car trouble that morning. Like
Right.
I mean, like the logistics of making sure that you get a full team, that everyone's there. Like I had to stop at the beginning of round 1 because even though we had talked about like what missions we were going to take and what we were going to do, I almost put out the wrong mission because I'm used to like I run a certain mission with my lists, but I knew that Izzy and Bob needed sabotage and shifting more than my list did, and my list could do okay on either strategic or never tell, and I ended up taking never tell just because I had more experience with it. But like, I almost pulled out sabotage, and I was like, teammates, what missions did you bring again? I don't remember. And so, but I mean, other than like the extra logistics involved, it is easier, I think, to run the 2-person, 2-headed giant style event and have it like fire and be successful. But if you're looking for a fun time, the best 2 out of 3, because the whole time it'll be like, oh, maybe Bob lost, but Izzy won, and well, spoilers, this is what happened round 3. Like now it's all on the line, like your game is going to decide. Like, oh no, it's super fun. And yes, one, like I decided to just focus on terrain because I was like, there's no way I'm going to next level somebody in terms of matchups like you're describing. I would need far more experience with this style, and so I just went in deciding to focus on one thing and hoping it worked. Spoilers, it didn't. But regardless, oh no, it would be so much fun. The only concern I'd have is getting even teams to show up, but that's just a life thing.
Right, yeah. I mean, so like just to kind of like backtrack a little. So as far as like how the team construction went, you needed to have 3 players. Each player for this event brought a 3 mirror roster across all of the rosters. So across all, what is that, 9 squads or whatever, or 9, yeah, 3, 6, 9, yeah, 9 squads. You couldn't have any duplications. Whether so, like you couldn't have Anakin on one team, Vader on another, or something along those lines. It was like that was it. You couldn't have any duplicates, and you couldn't have any duplicate missions either. So like, I mean, there's 5 missions out at this point in time, so it's not that difficult to sit there, and there was options like you were saying. So like you could sit there, but it made it a little bit more challenging. I mean, like that's kind of how it is to a certain extent in MCP. Like we just do characters with that, especially you can't really do that with missions on that one. Like we can't restrict missions over there, but similar style, whereas like you kind of there's a restriction in list building. So yeah, there is a logistics problem, I guess, with it. Like it's interesting. at big conventions like, let's say, like at LVO, it works out usually really well because that's day 3 of the convention where you have the team event, and it's like usually by that point in time people have made friends with other people, like especially people that come solo, and they're like, and they find another person, like they find a third person for their team, and they kind of make teams as they go and stuff like that. Where yeah, here locally, it was kind of a bummer. Like there was like 2 people running late type of a thing. They ended up showing up kind of on time, and it worked out okay. I mean, to be on the flip side, on the MCP side, I didn't have that issue. The only people that were like kind of pushing it, getting there late, was the team that came up from Tucson, but that's like a 2.5 hour drive for them. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so them waking up in the morning, driving all the way up, and making it. I mean, and they still made it pretty much on time for the most part. So it's I chalk that up to some of our like the one guy, he had a brand new truck and his battery died. Like, and it's like it was like a 3 week old vehicle, and his, I mean, so that's, that kind of just happens. I mean, in flat tires, like Izzy, I think, got a flat tire. That stuff, this happens. I mean, you can't really, life happens and things along those lines. But I mean, yeah, for the most part, there is a little more of a challenge, but if people plan for it, I think that it is something kind of cool. And like I said, I think it's a really fun event and a fun way to kind of play the game. Because like you said, there's that, oh, so and so lost, so and so won, but you know what? If our third player ends up pulling out a win, we're gonna sit there and get an upset win or something along those lines. So, but yeah, so let's kind of jump into your games. I know your first game. I don't know if I can pull up Longshanks here, but like, who was your first round opponent?
Oh, I know who my opponent was because Todd, remember how I didn't really focus on who I was gonna end up playing? I gave myself an uphill battle, like from the get go. I was round 1. I played against Liam on Kit Fisto. Remind me, who is one of the best Kit Fisto players before they even updated them, and I put myself against him. Who is that? Remind me.
I think that was Liam. I think that was him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I have words about this game, Todd. Okay. So Kit Fisto bounced around because he was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was Liam's bottom card on his order deck. That Fishman was on the midline before I ever even saw his order deck card. He didn't even shatter point at him. He shatter pointed oh, it was something interesting too. It was like the Padawans or something. He shatter pointed something really weird that I was like, "Oh, okay." Cuz he was I'm trying to remember what the rest of his list was.
So he played Kid Fisto with Pawns and 7 Scorch, and then I'm assuming against you, he probably played Kiadi Mundi with Shakti and the Padawans.
Oh yeah. That's right. Pawns and 7. So I was expecting 7 Scorch to get shatter pointed, and then he ended up shatter pointing something. I think it was Padawans, but regardless, bottom line, Kit Fisto was giving me trouble because we got the star on Never Tell, because I won the roll off for my game, and we got the star pattern on Never Tell, and Kit Fisto was giving me problems on the middle of the map before he ever even activated. Like, as I was trying, we got kind of stuck in that little quagmire thing that happens where, like, you have everybody's back point, or you each have your back points, and you're fighting over the middle point. And so, yeah, Kit Fisto, really good. The, like, free shoves and stuff. Like, I did an accidentally tactical moment. Everybody be proud of Aubrey, because I used the reposition from because I played it was Cassian PLC, right, for my first one, because you have it in front of you.
Yeah, it was Cassian PLC.
Yeah, Cassian PLC. So I was able to use the reposition on somebody he attacked. I got the reposition off, and I was able to move out of the shove. And Liam was even like, "Did you do that on purpose?" And I was like, "Nah, I was just moving to get away from you. Wasn't even thinking about the range 3 extra dash." And he's like, "Well, that was really good." And I was like, "Yep, it was." And so, but no, so this was one of those games where, on paper, I went 0-2, right? Like it looks like he just stomped me into the ground. But I have to say, every struggle felt very close. Like it felt like if something had just gone slightly different, like if a dice roll had changed or the priority roll had gone slightly different or something like that, I could have had an opportunity to pull the game out. But variance didn't go my way, and Liam's a fantastic player, and Kid Fisto, that dude is terrifying now. Like when he finally activated him after doing all of the other nonsense he did with him, then he what's the ability? The making, I think it's called make an opening. The reroll. The reroll on Kit
Hmm.
Fisto anyway. He every time he used Kit Fisto, which was only a couple of activations, right? Because we only had two struggles. But he basically was able to look down at his dice, go, if I change this my dice, because I think the rerolls are mine. I gotta look up Kid Fisto here, because it's gonna come up again, Todd, in the next round. Um, let's see, blah blah blah. The attacking kit. No, that's the dash. Do during the modify. Oh yeah, you can change one dice to a fail, basically.
Right.
Liam just took the can opener that was Mr. Fishman and went, if I change this dice, what happens? If I change this dice, what happens? And every time it just pushed the attacks over the top. And I was like, okay, hi, Liam. This attack that was already not going well for me is now going terribly for me.
Right. Yeah, it's I'm afraid I must request your surrender, where he can just like manipulate dice. It's like, and there's nothing like, it's his identity. So it's just like once per turn, and enemy character within three makes an attack. After the attack resolves, like you just okay. I just one character can jump and then can change the attack roll dice to like one or more fails. It's
Yeah,
like okay, and then, or defense. It's like you push and then you make a. And then you change one of the dice to a fail. It's like, oh my gosh.
yeah, no, it's phenomenal. Never mind the fact. Remember, he has three shoves on both sides of his card. Although he's another model where both Liam and Chris were like, nope, you stay in Shicho. You stay in Form One. Yeah, he doesn't have another side of the card because apparently that's is just so much better. Because I haven't played with new Kit, but I played against him. Ugh. So anyway, Liam got the win for round one. And then I did the same thing, Todd. I went, ooh, terrain, terrain, terrain. This is where you're all gonna be. Boom. I get over to my table, and who do I play against? Who is my round two opponent, Todd?
Let's see, round two. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one here. I got to look at the. Well, you were playing Meat Sweats. Oh, you had to get to play against a pretty average player, I guess. Like some people might know him. His name's Chris Sampson. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so he was playing Kit Mace Windu, and
Right.
like I have to say again, Chris stomped me into the ground. I know full well he did. But again, like this is kind of like the theme of the day. Other than I do feel like my third round. Well, we'll get to my third round. But like this game felt really close. It felt like there was a lot that I could have done to maybe affect things, and like we were having good back and forth. Like I did make a couple of misplays because I was playing with Jin Cassie. Was it Jin Cassie in this round, Todd? You got it in front of you.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I did have a couple of I forgot Jin's heal trigger because for most of struggle one and almost all of no all of struggle one and most of struggle two, Jin was by herself. Eventually, Han and Chewie came over by her, and like it was at the tail end of struggle two, but I missed a couple of heal triggers, which will be important in struggle three. But uh flip over the struggle 3 card, and if I remember right, either option gave Chris either the ability to take all 3 points or he just had all 3 points. Like either option he got. I don't remember if he had to do anything to get all 3 points, but it wasn't particularly challenging. And so uh Chris, of course, does that. Like, why wouldn't you? Takes all 3 points. Now I'm fighting this uphill battle. And then the heals came in to play because I eventually, the third time, because we ended up in mission critical, right? Like right after flipping the third. So then I was like, oh crap, Jin. So I heal. Han and Chewie had 4 damage and a strain on them. I heal it off the strain and a damage because I'm hoping to get to go. But then what does Chris do? He runs. Oh wait, was it Mace or was it Kit? I'm gonna blame Kit Fisto anyway. I don't care. I don't remember if this was Kit Fisto or Mace Windu. It was one of his primaries. They just plopped over onto because it was never tell. It was the objective that's in the middle, but on my side, right? The one that's further,
Yeah.
the one in the middle that's further up, and he just plopped a Jedi there and went, "Hey, Han and Chewie, how do you feel about lightsabers?" Boom, took him down, ripped the point back away from me after I only scored like 1. And so like between the mission critical momentum and that, like the thing is, if they had been at full health, they wouldn't have gotten wounded, and I wouldn't have lost on the spot. But Matt Booker, like that's the thing. Matt Booker standing there the whole time, knowing that I didn't heal them, and he's just not saying anything because, of course, well, one, it's a game, but two, he's like, Aubrey forgot his things. I mean, Chris noticed too, but Matt Booker just flipped over our cards because well, I mean, we want to know like did that mistake cost me the game? No, like his next card I think was either Shatterpoint or whatever Chris's next card was. He was gonna be able to do I was if I had he had only scored 3, he was gonna be able to move that model over, take those points from Han and Chewie anyway, and then I just would have lost the next turn anyway. So which weirdly makes me feel better because I was gonna lose no matter what because of that rip off the top. Like
Right.
it was a fast struggle 3.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So here's the interesting thing. So going into now at this point in time, you guys unfortunately are 0-2. And your team was Bob, Izzy, and yourself. And then there was 2 teams at that point in time that were 1-1. There was I love the team name of Todd Wants an Even Number. That was Liam's team with Sean and Sheev. And then the Meat Sweats, which was Chris Sampson and the Raider brothers. They were both at 1-1, and then the undefeated team that was left was the Black Banner Bandits, which was our friend Holden, Jerry Bullwinkle, and Andrew Profita. So at this point in time, basically the way it worked out, because it was a round robin style of play, the 2 1-1 teams had to go against one another, and you guys were going against the one undefeated team. And there was a path that if you guys won your match, that one of the teams that went 1-1, like that won that one, and whoever won the 1-1 matchup could potentially win the championship here for the weekend. So it was really interesting, kind of like to watch the dynamic of what was happening between these 2 games with all the games going on. So you get paired into the 2-0 team, or the 2-0 team as an 0-2. I mean, were you guys even thinking about the fact that you could like play upset for the Black Bandit team or the Black Banner team?
I was thinking about it. Absolutely, I was the whole time. I was like, I'm gonna do it. I don't know about so. I hate to say it, but Bob was having a rough day. I don't.
Oh, he had a horrible day. Yeah.
Yeah. Did he even win a struggle? Like I'm trying
to remember. He
didn't
win a single struggle the entire time.
Oh,
he didn't win a single struggle.
Yeah. It was rough. And then Izzy win round 2 again? You've got it in front of you. I didn't pull up.
Well, unfortunately, like with the Longshanks outage, a lot of the data that's normally would be there
right.
isn't
we talked about
there.
It. Anyway,
yeah.
moving on. Okay, moving on. I think Izzy won his second round game, but Bob and I both lost, so it didn't matter, because it's best 2 out of 3 get a team for.
But Izzy did. Izzy did win. Izzy beat Nick. Yeah, Izzy won against Nick.
Okay, right. So in any event, we get into this, and Bob loses. Izzy wins. I'm playing against Andrew, and yeah, this was I like. Part of you feels bad, right? Like you don't want to be dashing somebody's hopes and dreams of first place, but also I got nothing else to live for today. I've been getting my face kicked in all the whole time, and you know what? I want to win a game, and I'm here. I didn't concede. I am here to play a game, and I hate to say it, but like the variance gods blessed me this round because basically like the opposite of my game against Liam, like Andrew played well. Like I don't really think there was like any major mistakes on our part, like on either side of the table. We had a good game, but every time variance broke, it broke my way. Like in this
Right.
game, like every time a dice roll, like there would be times where like in my game with Chris, like I would roll a bad roll, but then he would also roll a bad roll, so it kind of felt pretty even. This game, every time I rolled an above average roll, Andrew was like rolling below average, and then like every time he was trying to I'm trying to remember, there was a because he was playing. Oh, he had. Oh, you have it in front of you. What was he playing again?
I don't like again. It's like that the data's just not there
Oh, it's
for
still
this
down.
one. It did. Yeah. Yeah.
Um. Well, I know
But
he
you
was playing. I know he was playing Empire because it was elite. It was because he had elite squad troopers and Callus. It was interesting because he had Callus in an Empire list, which you don't see very often. With Moth Gideon. Because I thought oh wait, I forgot I did make one misplay at the very beginning. I forgot I was playing against Moff Gideon. I reserved Cassian, flipped over my next card, and he was like, you know, you gotta pay 2 for that, and I was like, oh god. Like at that point, I had already flipped over the cards, so I thought,
yeah.
I like that's how bad it was. I forgot that was one misplay. It just never cost me. Like, because I was playing Cassian PLC again, and I was like, "Oh God, I'm starting the game with 3 force. Like I'm just gonna, I'm just done." So it was Gideon and Gideon Iden. That's right, Gideon Iden. It was Gideon. I mean not Gideon. Iden, Gideon Hask, and Elite Squads, and then Moff, Fifth Brother, and Callus. So
So
like not
it was Iden Gideon because it was
yeah.
Moth Gideon.
Oh, right. Jesus. There's too many Gideon. One of them needs to change their name. Gideon Hask needs a new name. Get over it. Anyway, there's too many Gideons. They're all Gideons. Anyway, uh, but I feel like I was like it was so rough that like I was able to get onto his the middle point that's on your side. Like I got over there and I just kept bullying him off of that point. And then eventually I got Luke Skywalker all the way onto his from my perspective it would be the right side of the board, his left back point, and like
Mhm.
Luke just kind of sat there and is like, this is mine now. And so like I will admit I was having fun. I don't know how much fun Andrew was having because like there was one point where he just needed to like wound like there was like a couple of times where he just needed to do like one more point of damage and he would wound somebody and the dice just went, but what if you left them on 1? But what if you left them on 2? But what if you left them on 3? And I'm like,
Oh, that's awful.
this should not be this should not be happening. So then we get to the very end and I win. And Izzy won. So upset. We got to be the
Yeah,
kingmakers.
and it was wild. Like, cause so like basically what it really came down to. So like both teams that were 2-1, both had individual records of 5 wins, 4 losses for each one of their teammates. So then it had to go to the second tiebreaker, which was victory points scored, which was basically the amount of struggles that you had won versus lost. And basically it was the Meat Sweat Bros, or the Meat Sweats team had 14 versus the Black Banner Bandits had 11. And then, or no, the VP, I think that's wounds actually, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that was wounds. So it was, or I can't remember. It was, no, that had to have been, no, that has to be struggles. It had to be struggles because I think you guys only had like 8, so you had definitely more wins than that. So it was, it basically came down to
Yeah.
they just got more struggles. They just won more, like overall won more struggles as a team. So 3 more struggles basically, and that's what it came down to, was just that close of it, because the individual records were the same. They were both 2-1. So it was wild just kind of watching like that unfold in the last round of the game, of watching the Jake and Nick and Chris's team kind of like slowly inch their way forward, and then your team kind of like play upset to the undefeated team of the going into it, like the favorites going into the final round, really.
Oh, Todd, I almost forgot one more detail. Andrew, I'm sorry to rub salt into this wound, but when I mean variance went very badly for him, struggle one, we had gotten the X pattern again. I was like, oh my god, like that's why my games were going into mission critical so much. Yeah, okay, I go into the tank sometimes, but also rounds 2 and 3, uh, the X pattern on Never Tell. It's like, can I get any other layout, please? I was able to score all 5 objectives, and Andrew didn't even take a single one back from me. When I say when his dice like did not function for him, I mean I scored 5 and then he scored 0
Oh,
at the end of
jeez.
struggle 1. Like that's why I'm sure it was not his favorite game. Like
Yeah.
what do you even do?
Yeah, and like he wears, like when he's having a bad time, you can totally tell it. Like you can see it on his face and in his body language. And like I walked over, and I could just see that he was not having a good time at all. So, but yeah, it was pretty wild. I mean, like it was fun. I mean, so Chris Sampson overall, he was the only player to go undefeated on the day. He went 3-0 in his matchups. So he ended up getting basically top general for the tournament. His team ended up winning, taking home the first place banner. Like I said, I had a really fun time with over the weekend. It was a really good event. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, it sounds like you had fun with it and everything like that. I mean, did you have any closing thoughts about the event or anything like that?
Well, so like yes, I do. Let me put this together. So first off, what I think, because I had heard a couple of the players kind of talking afterwards, and they were like, "Oh, well, this was kind of a little bit pricier of an event, blah 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 blah." And so, what you have to recognize is, yes, it was a bunch of us locals playing, and yes, it was only a 12-person event. I mean, Austin was there helping you judge. You were running the event. Booker showed
Mm-hmm.
up at one point just to say hi, see how everything was going. So I mean, it felt like a small event to us. But if you looked at the room and you looked at everything that was going on, like we had waitresses bringing drinks to us. We had what they had food. I didn't actually see. Was it a food truck? Where did the food come?
No,
Food
they
was
actually
appearing
so
from somewhere.
Yeah, so there was actually because this is a large venue, they actually had like a full kitchen with like a food bar where like they were making burgers and chicken fingers and salads, and they had like, fountain drinks and stuff like that where you could go and get like, it was a little on the pricier side because you're paying for the location more than anything. It's North Scottsdale. It's like one of the more per capita, one of the richest places in the freaking United States. So you paid for that, but they had food there. It was a 5-man team event uh for 40K, and they had 31 teams. So
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
mean,
what,
it's like
160, 150 plus people?
over
Somewhere in
150
there.
players there.
Yeah.
Now, for the Old World had 11 players that showed up. Age of Sigmar had 9 teams in a with 5 teams total, or 5-player teams. So they had 9 teams. So there was another 45 players there. So I mean,
Yeah.
on the Warhammer side of things, there was close to 200 players. There was over 200 players, I should say. Just between Sigmar, between AOS 40K and Old World. There was a lot of, so 200 players. I mean, that's not a small event in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why I'm like this. If you're just looking at the Shatterpoint part, this looks very small. And so, what I think of this as is like when we would go to Magic Fests or whatever they call them. I don't know, the large scale Magic conventions. Yes, you would have some smaller events going off in the corner. Then you'd have the big giant main event and et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of the times the prizes would feel maybe a little top heavy because a lot of times these sorts of events are geared towards rewarding the most competitive players or the most competitive team or whatever. And so even though a team event feels casual, it was really a competitive team event with prizing geared towards first, second, and third place, and then they had like an overall, and then the painting competition, and so I just want to say that I saw where my money went, which is, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a
Right.
positive way. We had the waitresses running around. We had food that was readily available out of apparently a full kitchen. I didn't even know that part. Like
Right.
we had plenty of room. Like I have been to events, magic and otherwise, where you're like, I have this much room, and I'm not a big guy. I am not a large person, and I'm
Right.
like, I'm feeling squished. So there was plenty of room. Like it felt good. I mean, AC. That was another thing I was thinking about. I was like, oh man, where like you told me this is a car show, a horse show. I'm seeing RVs and a bunch of not fields. God, what do you call it for rodeo? Rodeo stands and stuff.
Corrals.
Corrals. Yeah, there we go,
Yeah.
Todd. Uh, and I was like, oh no, am I gonna be stuck in a room sweating through my shirt the whole day? No, I don't know, Todd. I mean, it's Arizona. It was still warm, but
Yeah,
I
but I mean,
wasn't
it was
uncomfortable.
over 100 outside, and I wasn't sweating. Inside the building. It was not uncomfortably warm, and that's like for an Arizona event, that's good. I mean, I think everyone was surprisingly comfortable. And not having a problem with that. So I mean, like again, yeah, you went to the venue. You were paying for a higher level event. I mean, and the thing is like, and that's kind of why the things were is like there was custom acrylic tokens that went out to every player. Like if
Which were
people put
cool.
in like if people submitted their artwork, every team got like this huge 3x5 foot banner. That they got to take first place through third place. All got banners. The plaques, the
And
first place
plaques.
plaques, yeah, were amazing. The best general plaque. I mean, there was a lot of prize support out there for that. Like now, granted, like I said, if you didn't take first place or something and you were coming in hoping to see a return on that investment, there wasn't necessarily going to happen. But you know what, like first place, there was prize support that went out in the form of store credit to Gamers Guild as well. I mean, so there was stuff that went out to like other teams and stuff like that. There was, like I said, the challenge coins through Monument Hobbies. There was, I feel like, again, someone who played Magic and played in a lot of these other tournaments, I feel like the return on investment of it was not bad overall. I think you did get what you're going to pay for. But again, a lot of people, I think, especially in like the Shatterpoint community, this was like their first or second game. They don't have that experience like you and I have with going like to Magic and like, okay, you travel to LA, you play in this tournament, and you paid what was like some like if you paid for like a package or something like that, sometimes you paid like $150 just to play all weekend long, and you might walk away with like, I don't know, I was able to min max things, like especially if I played in like
Mm,
the round tournaments, and I'd walk away with like 2 or 3 boxes worth of cards. But like not everybody did that. Sometimes people would walk away with like, oh, I got some cards signed and maybe I got a couple of booster packs and that was it. And it's like, for every person that was able to like sit there and like maximize that, there was people that walked away and they just played games for the weekend and that's all they got out of it. So I think there's a balance to it for sure.
yeah, and I that's my point. Is that I feel like I paid for an experience and I got a good experience. Did I get a ton of prizes? No, but I mean, we're already talking about next year, maybe maybe doing a GT or maybe we just provide a little bit of extra prize support. I mean, I always
Yeah.
got a box of prizes floating around if we want to raffle off some stuff. It's not like we can't do that. So I mean, there's
Right.
also ways to sweeten the pot. We kind of wanted to kick the tires and just see, hey, we're attaching ourselves to this brand new event that hasn't happened here before. Let's see what happens. So you can always iterate on it. But regardless, I was happy. I was happy by the end of the event. I had a good time. Like this is kind of, I don't know if other people think this way, but Todd, if you go to the movies with a family of 4 or 5, like the say that you got 4 or 5 people coming with you to the movies, how much are you gonna drop on that?
Well, let's see. Like the price of movie tickets. I have 3 kids, so if I take all 3 of my kids and the wife to the movies, plus getting popcorn, plus getting drinks, plus getting this, I'm usually leaving for like $80 is like probably a good day, So it's like, yeah, and as for what, a 2-hour movie where like, okay, you go to this place, you play Shatterpoint for an entire day at $40. It was like $40 a person.
45, I
I
think.
think,
But yeah, 45.
yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, I think you got. I mean, like I said, yes, you didn't get a lot, but I mean, like I said, those acrylic tokens are nice.
I'm
The
gonna use
little
them.
bit of swag. Yeah, like the little bit of swag that everybody got, I think was enough to kind of like at least you're walking away with something, and everything along those lines. I know, so it's I don't know. I guess it kind of just depends on the individual person, and like I said, not everyone's going to be happy. You're never going to make everyone happy, but I think overall it was a well run event over like a high level. I mean, when you look at like Kicker, people might know Kicker from like his days at Frontline Gaming, and the tournament organization that he does, and he's the full time guy at Green Banner. So he does a lot of like, I mean, he runs great events, and this was another great event that he ran. I mean, and I'm excited to see kind of where it goes from here.
Yeah, and I mean, again, from outside looking in, it looked like the 40K players were having a good time too. Because I saw Bogler and his oldest, his kiddo. I talked to him only for like a few minutes over at by the Monument Hobbies stand. Said hi, and I was asking how it's going. They seemed to have a good time. I walked over and I was looking at because
His team finished dead last in the tournament. They took 31st out of 31 teams, but I mean, I'm sure he had a good time anyway. He was
I
having
mean,
fun playing
well,
with his kid.
he didn't sound like that's what happened. Anyway, he was having a good. All right, well there you go. He was having a good time. And then
Yeah,
there was like a lot of the 40K players. Oh my God! Besides the judge, they created these such elaborate dioramas, and like there was one with like the big giant mechs with like glowing LEDs all over it, and so like I was taking pictures. So I mean, again, outside looking in, it looked. I, I would do it again. How about that?
yeah,
I would spend my money and do this again. That's not a bad thing, right?
yeah. I don't think so. I mean, for anybody that's willing to, I mean, I would say this. I know a lot of people don't make the trek out to Adepticon. Adepticon's in March, like a month after Adepticon is when this is going to be happening. Where it's going to be happening at the end of April. Middle. I think beginning to middle of April, I should say. So I mean, this is going to be a fun event for those that if you're on this side of the country and don't want to make the trek to Adepticon. Talking to you, Kenny, and all you boys up in Utah, go ahead and make a couple teams and bring yourself down here. I know Kenny wants to visit his family down
Yeah.
here in Arizona anyway, so you should. I'm talking to you, Kenny. But yeah, no, I think it's a fun time for everybody. I mean, it'd be really cool to like see if like get Poos and friggin' the Between Two Sprues guys to come down and play in a team event. That'd be kind of cool. I think there'd be if we could get like some of like the
Yeah.
big teams out there to kind of like travel in just for the early winter and have a good time.
Todd, we forgot to talk about meat sweats.
What about meat sweats? Like they're out
What
what
do
they
you
were
mean?
wearing?
They were kitted out in full. Like we're an
Yeah.
hour at the episode and we didn't even talk about their team.
Yeah.
They were kitted out in aprons and chef hats, and they had full on menus. When I put down an order card to signify which player was gonna play on which table, they put down an entire menu for me.
Yeah.
It was delightful.
I really I like the one thing that I wish they had, and I was talking with Chris about it. They didn't have the time to do it. One of the things I would have loved is if like the side of the menu that was face down was actually their full roster. Would have been really cool. Like you turn it over, it's like this is what you have to play against today.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought they were gonna do, and then it wasn't, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, it's still
They just
great.
didn't have the
It's
time.
still
They just didn't have the
yeah.
time to sit there and put it all together, which is cool. But it was like I found it like I was glad that they like really committed to the bit of the Meat Sweat Brothers and the team Meat Sweat. So I was like it was really awesome that they committed to it. It was great. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope that this moves forward. Like I said, I've already committed to working with Green Banner going forward for at least this event. I know they're trying to get me to do other events for them outside of Arizona. We'll see what happens and if the wife blesses that for me to go and do. But they run some events, like I said, in Utah, Colorado, California. They're all over the Southwest right now. So it'll be exciting. I think they even have one in Nevada. So it's going to be exciting to kind of see kind of where they grow from there and what they do. But yeah, I guess this is a pretty good spot to close out. We're actually over an hour in because there was a lot to talk about this weekend. But so to close everything out, as always, I'd like to thank all you guys for listening, tuning in, and listening to the ramblings of two nerds sitting in their rooms like talking about Star Wars and stuff. So we appreciate all of you guys. If you want to support us, you can definitely do so by becoming a patron. For as little as $1 a month, it definitely helps us with like getting the equipment and going and doing these events and like being able to sit there and hopefully like stream more things and everything that we do. It really helps us out being able to sit there and do that if you can. If that's not for you, you can definitely still support us by rating, reviewing the podcast on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on, or if you're watching us on YouTube, like, subscribe, leave a comment. But as always, again, we thank you very much for everything that you guys do with listening and supporting us. We appreciate it. And just remember, if you want to be like Aubrey, just rely on variance and roll dice.
May the meat sweats be with you.